Hello, it's Kathy Cassidy and I'm here to read you chapter 20 of Love from Lexie. I hope that all of you are doing well. I'm sitting outside. It's a kind of quite a warm evening just before the Easter weekend, and I think I'm going to make the most of the weather and try and get up a little bit ahead with the video blogs. And before I get started, I'm going to give a little shout out to a couple of people who asked for a mention, and they are Nikki and Holly in Coventry, and Nicola and Amelie, Delilah and family, and Sarah and Lucy, Jenna, Joey, Chris, Hayley and Fatima. So I hope all of you are still listening and enjoying things. And here we go for chapter 20, and before we get to that bit, there is the little filler between the chapters, as we're kind of getting used to now, and it's a letter. Again, a letter from Lexie to her mum, and it goes like this. Dear Mum, you will not believe what's happened. We've only been a band for 2 weeks and now we've got a gig supporting a very famous 1960s pop star. It would be exciting if it wasn't so scary. Anyway, it's Ked Wilder. Do you remember him? I know he was well before your time and he'll be ancient now, but it's still a massive thing because he's like the king of British pop, and he hasn't played live for more than 10 years, so loads of people will turn out to see him. And they'll see us too, which is the scary bit. I'm getting on okay with M, the boy. He hasn't kissed me again. Is that normal? Maybe I was rubbish and put him off. Beck says I have to be strict and tell him to keep his hands to himself, but he isn't like that at all. He's quite romantic, though. He's written the music for a song for me, and I have to write the words. It's very difficult because I'm not sure what our story is yet, and everything I try just comes out wrong. I wish you were here to ask. I miss you more than ever. Love from Lexie. So here we go on chapter 20 proper, and it's called Going Places. So it's Saturday morning and Marley is like a kid at Christmas. He's so excited at the idea of the festival he is driving me crazy, talking non-stop and grabbing my hands every few minutes to dance me around in some kind of celebration dance. This is not ideal when you're trying to walk along the street, trust me. People tend to stare. I'm marching him over to Bridge Street Library to sign him up for a library card. He's so grateful about the whole library protest thing that he actually agreed. Stop it, Marley, I say, laughing, pulling away from him now. Calm down. Calm down, he echoes. You're kidding, right? I can calm down when I'm dead. But right now, I am buzzing. We've got our first gig and it's going to be huge, supporting Ked Wilder. Do you have any idea what that means? I roll my eyes. 5 solid weeks of hard work and slog, followed by half an hour of sheer terror. That's what it means, I tell him. We're nowhere near ready for this, Marley. We only have 1 song, and even that's rough around the edges. 2 songs, he corrects me. That library thing will be the top of our playlist. Have you managed to do anything with the guitar piece I wrote for you? Haven't had time, I argue. I've been scrubbing cobwebs off windows and painting psychedelic stripes all week, remember? And then there was a small distraction of school. Give me a chance. A chance, Marley says. I'll give you my heart on a platter, Lexie Lawler. You are awesome. This gig, it's all thanks to you. You found us a new practice space, one we can use every evening if we want to. And you found us Louisa Winter, who just so happens to be rich, famous and very well connected. Oh, and as loopy about libraries as you are. Don't worry, I'm not knocking it. Good, I say, and it's Jake we have to thank anyway. He lives at Greystones. He's the one who found Louisa. Marley shrugs. Whatever. Look, I admit I was wrong. You were right. Libraries open doors. Who knew? I knew, I remind him, grinning. Okay, rub it in, why don't you? Inside the library, it's even busier than usual for a Saturday. Miss Walker's looking extra cool in a vintage-style dress printed with shelves of books. My library dress, she says. giving a little twirl. I'm fighting this every inch of the way and every which way I can. She hands us a form for Marley to fill out for a library card, plus an extra one to take back for Dylan. And when I explain about our plan to get as many people to sign up as possible, she smiles and says lots of people have been in during the week to do exactly that. As for today, it's been non-stop, she says. It's not even lunchtime and already I've had the Milford Gazette in asking how I feel about library closures. And would you believe Radio Milford are calling in 5 minutes to do a live roundup of what's happening? Miss Winter's interview has certainly stirred things up a bit. That's brilliant, I say. It is, she agrees, putting Marley's information into the computer. The radio researcher asked if any of the protesters were available to chat, and in walk you two. Could you say a few words about why you care so much about Bridge Street Library and how the whole protest festival idea came about? Yes, Marley crows, how cool, we're going to be on the radio. My reaction is less gleeful. I'm not sure I can, I tell Miss Walker. I think Bex might speak better than either of us. Bex isn't here, and you are, the librarian points out. Please, Lexie, for the libraries. It's nothing scary, just a chat on the phone. A chat on the phone with half the town listening in, I say, and the penny drops. People really are out there listening. Speaking out might help the libraries, but more than that, someone might recognise my name and find a way to contact my mum. I just need to say who I am and mention I'm in foster. It has to be worth a shot, surely. We'll do it, no worries, Marley is saying. It might be fun. Another librarian, the plump grey-haired one, comes over to hold the fort at the desk while the interview takes place, and then the telephone rings. Miss Walker picks it up, smiling and nodding at us, and we know right away she's talking to a researcher and isn't actually live on air, because she gives our names and explains who we are. The researcher talks to each of us in turn to check we're coming over loud and clear, or possibly to make sure we're not nuts. Don't think of it as radio, she says. Imagine you're talking to a friend. We're coming to the end of the traffic report. Tony will be with you soon. Can you put Miss Walker back on the line? The whole library is hushed as the clock shows it's 12, and Miss Walker's face lights up as she begins to chat, telling listeners about the busy library and how upset her regulars are that it will soon be closing. She invites anyone who thinks that libraries are old-fashioned to call in and see for themselves. The council tell us that kids today don't use libraries, but that's absolutely not the case here, she declares. In fact, some of our most passionate protesters are teens. I'm handing over to Lexie Lawler, a 13-year-old from the local school who can tell you herself just why she cares so much. Miss Walker hands the telephone to me. She's already given me the best and clearest introduction possible. If anyone out there is looking for me, they'll know I'm safe, at least. Hello, Lexie, the presenter says brightly. The media would have us believe that teenagers are too wrapped up in themselves to care about things like libraries. Is that true? Tell us how you got involved in speaking up for Milford libraries. Marley digs me in the ribs and I stumble out of silence. Well, me and my foster sister Bex have been using Bridge Street Library for years. I begin. Miss Walker runs some cool reading groups and we get to have hot chocolate and cookies. I'm wandering off the point, but the presenter doesn't seem to mind. Hot chocolate, eh? He says. If only all libraries were like that. Libraries are not just about books these days, I point out, although they're vital because we don't have a library at our school anymore and not everyone has books or Kindles at home. Libraries do other things too. There are loads of groups that meet here. My friends and I are in a band and we used to practice here, but now the libraries are being closed. We're all upset because we have nowhere to go. The libraries should belong to us and the council should not be allowed to take them away or sell them off or whatever. My mum took me to libraries loads when I was little and those were brilliant times. The council should be supporting us, not slamming library doors shut. Well said, Lexie, the presenter booms. Now I believe your friend Marley's going to tell us all about this protest festival. Welcome to the show, Marley Hayes. Marley takes the phone and chats away with charm and confidence, skirting around the fact that the first he knew of the protest festival was when I called last night to say I'd read it in the paper. To hear him tell it, he'd pleaded with Louisa Winter to get involved, and she had agreed, rewarding his determination with a debut slot at the festival. My girlfriend and co-writer Lexie has collaborated with me on a song for the libraries, he states. We're a new band, but let's say that Louisa Winter and Ked Wilder have taken a very keen interest in our work. I raise my eyebrows, amazed at his cheek, but Marley just grins and shrugs, unrepentant. By the end of the interview, he's wangled us an invitation to showcase our songs on air once the festival's over. He hands the phone back to Miss Walker and I drag him over to the library's music section. I stand him in front of the biographies and watch his mouth drop open. If you want tips on how to make it in the music business, this is where to find them, I whisper as he flicks through a book about the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Although judging by that performance, you're pretty much a pro already. What was that about pleading with Louisa Winter? You've never even met her. It made a better story, he says. I got us a showcase slot for after the festival, didn't I? You did, I agree, but what if we're not ready by then? What if we're rubbish, Marley, or can't write any more songs? What if we can't play the festival, let alone the showcase? It's an awful lot of pressure for a new band, especially when half of us are struggling to get permission to even come out and practice. He pulls the face. Don't you want us to succeed, he asks. Of course, I say with a sigh. That's the whole point. It's going to take a lot of hard work to get to the point where we can really play in public. So we'll do that hard work, Marley says. That's all there is to it. He chooses a biography of Ked Wilder so he can research the man we'll supposedly be sharing a stage with. I want to impress him, he says simply. You can borrow more than one book, you know, I say, and Marley laughs out loud and tells me not to push it, which is probably fair enough. The radio interview is over now, and Miss Walker hands Marley his library card and checks out his book. You guys were amazing, she tells us. So natural, Lexie. And Marley, you were awesome. Don't tell him that, I wail. He'll start to believe it. We're on our way again, heading for town to scour the charity shops for rugs and throws for the old railway carriage. Marley slips his hand in mine as we walk. I'm awesome, he whispers in my ear. Stick with me, kid. We're going places. So that's the end of chapter 20, and things are really hotting up for Lexie and Marley and the band. And I hope you enjoyed listening to that little spat of dog barking just before. That wasn't my dogs. That must be somebody doing their dog walking exercise walk past the house. Hey, anyway, I hope you are handling the lockdown still all right. I think we must be heading for week 4 pretty much now. But anyway, as long as it goes on, I'll keep trying to read you chapters and give you a little chance to escape into a story, and we'll see how it goes. But chin up and let me know if you'd like a shout out or anything like that, and I'll see you tomorrow.